We had an unusually busy couple of weeks here with some people visiting from interstate, more appointments than usual, and also just being the school holidays is always something that changes our day-to-day rhythm. And so with having people in the house and being out and about more, some of those usual jobs that I would get to every day or be more on top of just sort of built up the last couple of weeks. So today I spent some time just sort of resetting my kitchen, just getting it back in rhythm. So I just started by looking at where I was at. I didn't have a plan about what I was going to make. I just knew I had fresh food that was not going to last too much longer. I had an abundance of zucchinis that I discovered, this watermelon that needed to be used up. I had so many cucumbers. So things that we would normally have eaten through, all of thinking I needed to get some of this onto a plate and eaten up, just to make sure we didn't have any food go to waste. I also chopped up these bananas. As you can see, they're going a little bit brown. They would have been perfect for a banana bread, but I was baking something different, so I chose to chop them up and pop them on a platter. My kids would devour them and not realize that they were almost brown, but if I gave it to them whole, they would have probably been a bit more fussy about eating them. So to start with, I just made this fruit and veggie plate, which I gave the kids as lunch alongside some sausage rolls that I heated up. So I just chopped up some watermelon, cucumber, capsicum, carrot, banana, and heated some sausage rolls that I made last week. I had quite a lot of them in the fridge, so I put quite a few into the freezer just to set us up for the coming days. I just really wanted to make sure that I didn't go to all that work and then end up wasting time and money by throwing food away that's perfectly delicious, that we would love to eat. So the kids loved their plates. You can see their sausage rolls and their fruit and veg there, and that was a delicious lunch, nice and fresh, especially after being out a lot. I do pack fruit to go out, but they don't eat as much fruit and veggies when we're out and about. Also was completely out of bread, so got a couple of sandwich loaves going. Something else that I always have on hand in my fridge is veggie stock paste. I use my Thermomix to make it, and it's basically veggies and herbs cooked down into a concentrated stock that you can add to sauces or to water to make a liquid broth. And I always have that on hand. I add it to curries, to my pasta or bolognese sauce, to rice, to soups, all sorts of things. So I still had a decent amount left in the fridge, but I noticed that I had a lot of celery and a lot of zucchini. So this was one way I could use some celery and zucchini, and I have such an abundance of parsley in the garden at the moment. So I was able to get rosemary, sage and parsley from the garden. I don't make my stock paste exactly the same every time. I do use the Thermomix recipe, but I just adapt it for what I have on hand. So you'll see the color difference between my last batch of stock and this batch of stock. And the key difference was I put more parsley in this time, and maybe more rosemary too, but I also didn't have a tomato. It just shocked me how different the color was without the tomato. It was time to put my bread in the oven, so I got that in there. I try to make sure I've got that in sort of early or mid-afternoon most days if I'm baking, just because otherwise my oven is busy at dinner time and I generally need to use it most days. And also I want the bread to cool on the bench for a little bit before I pack it up. So on my hunt through the kitchen, I noticed I had loads of sweet potatoes, so that's what I decided to put with tonight's dinner, which is shredded chicken left over in the fridge that I slow cooked earlier in the week. I am going to heat that up and add some gravy so it's not too dry, along with some roast potatoes that I actually chopped up a few days ago. I prepared them a few days ago knowing we were going to be at an appointment, we were going to get home late, and I was just going to grab the tray of roast potatoes from the fridge and pop them in the oven. But actually got home later than I expected and didn't have an hour for the potatoes to cook that night, so I whipped up a curry instead. So those potatoes were needing to be used. Stock paste ready to be decanted into my jar, and you can see last week's stock paste, I transferred that from the big jar into one of my little jars, and you can see the difference in the color. This stuff is just so delicious. I never use store-bought stock. I always make my own from my stock paste, and it's such an easy and cost-effective way to do it. Time for the loaves to come out of the oven, and it's always a bit tempting to eat them immediately because it smells delicious. Something else I made today was a garden salad. You noticed this iceberg lettuce was at the end of its life. So I am prepping some to go with tomorrow's dinner as well. Tomorrow we're going to have taco wraps. The mince goes off today too. I had some defrosted ground beef in the fridge, so I'm going to cook that up in a minute. So not only am I preparing dinner for tomorrow night, like I'm going to feel so much more prepared tomorrow, but also getting so much wholesome food prepped and on the table for the coming days, and making sure that we waste less. With 7 of us in the family, 6 of us eating currently, and the little one will be eating soon enough, it's important that we don't waste money on food. And I am constantly looking for ways to make things stretch a little bit further, and adding a salad it's like we've just entered winter here, so seems a bit random, but the kids just love fresh veggies. They're not such a fan of like steamed veggies. I love them, but they much prefer to eat like raw veggie sticks or salads and things like that. So I chopped up some red onion and put that separately in a bowl because most of the kids don't like it, and if I put it through the salad, that flavor kind of transfers across. But now that's all prepped and ready for tonight's dinner. time to get the protein for tomorrow onto the stove. So just gonna fry off some onion and garlic. Then I'm gonna add the ground beef and some herbs and spices and some zucchini and carrot. I used zucchini in so many different ways in the kitchen today. I made chocolate zucchini muffins. I used zucchini in the stock. I used zucchini in this ground beef mix. I was all about the zucchinis. I use them in a lot of my cooking, but I just had them built up because I hadn't been at home as much the last few days, hadn't really done as much baking. So I really needed to put them to use before they went yuck. It's such an easy way to bulk up the meat as well. Before I started adding things like zucchini and carrot to our mince, I would use almost twice as much ground beef. You know, I'm feeding 6 at the moment, and I'm just going to use 500 grams of ground beef and a couple of carrots and a zucchini, and that's going to feed all of us for dinner tomorrow night and probably have some lunch leftovers depending on how hungry everybody is. And it also adds so much extra nutrition to the meal as well. I've done the same with bolognese recently. I have halved how much mince I'm using, and I'm adding more and more zucchini and carrot to the meals. It's such a really cost-effective way to bulk it up. When I was preparing for my postpartum with this baby number 5, I was thinking about ways to streamline cooking after he was born. And one of the things I did in preparation was get a bunch of little versions of these spice jars you can see and pre-make things like my bolognese spice mix, my taco spice mix, just to make it quicker and easier when I was making dinner. But I had run out. That's another thing about being busy this week. So dinner looks delicious. The kids came and built a plate at the bench, and we all enjoyed a very wholesome family meal. Thanks for joining me.